Gabby Coletta, and today we are practicing just outside of Red Rock in Nevada, up in the mountains. And our practice today is going to be an energizing practice, some heart and shoulder opening. And I want to invite this idea, oftentimes people who are on the practice or on the path of yoga tend to be called spiritual seekers, right? And there's this idea of seeking to discover these different aspects of you. Perhaps it's your dharma, your meaning and purpose in life, or understanding what is the true self, or something else. But I want to invite this idea of what if part of the practice wasn't necessarily seeking, because sometimes there can be this sort of externalization with seeking, like drawing outward, but rather opening up to. Because oftentimes if we're seeking something and we get a little too narrow-minded or tunnel visioned about something, we might lose sight of the very thing that we're asking for showing up right in front of us. So this practice is about kind of playing with this idea of seeker and seeing if that seeker can be also in the practice of opening up to what the practice reveals, what the moment reveals, or the possibility that might be right in front of the eyes if we train that tejas, that clarity of sight, to be able to recognize it. So without further ado, let's begin seated, Sukhasana. Let your sits bones ground, settle into it. Let your shoulders soften down the back. And even with all this softening and settling of the bones of the body, the muscles, the tissues, can you find length? Lengthen the spine so the heart lifts and is open. Collarbones broad. Even slide the ears back so they're stacked over the shoulders. A little tuck of the chin so the back of the neck is long. There can be space for the breath and therefore prana on top of it to move freely. A couple breaths here. Start to deepen the breath in through the nose and out through the nose if possible. Perhaps invite Ujjayi breath, so victorious breath. It's this inhale and exhale through the nose, but involving a gentle constriction in the back of the throat, like you're fogging up a mirror. It's the sound of the ocean. Continue with that, audible to you, and on your inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, fan the arms down. It's big, like you're painting a big sun. Breaths. Twice more. Inhale, reach up, heart lifts, spine gets long. Keep that length in the spine as you exhale, sweeping the arms down on either side. Once more, inhale, lift up, lift the heart. And exhale, sweep it down. Reach up to the sky. And then release right hand down. Crescent up and over towards the right for a little side stretch. Press both sit bones down. Roll the heart to the sky. And then slowly come on up, but keep your left hand on the earth and just reach your right arm all the way out to the side. So you're still going to be in a little bend here. Reach for this diagonal length across the arms, but lean your top shoulder back. And if I said right arm, I meant left arm because I'm trying to mirror you. Big inhale here. And then exhale, thread left arm underneath bottom like you're hugging your ribs, just finding a little twist, hug inward. Do that twice more. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, round. Thread, hug the ribs. Once more. Pull the shoulders down the back. Pinch the shoulder blade tips together and then hug. Thread. Open up. Big giant T with the arms, and then come back to a neutral spine. Tilt over to the other side, crescent up and over. Right arm crescents up and over to the side body. Roll the top shoulder back, the top pinky finger down. Take another breath as you press both sit bones down into the earth. Get a lift in the upper ribs. And then slowly come on out, so much so that you can find this big wingspan. Inhale across the chest, right arm reaches up. Exhale, right arm threads underneath the left, perhaps grabbing onto the ribs. A couple times. Open. Thread. Once more. Open. And thread. Go ahead and open. And come back to center. Interlace the hands behind the back. Clasp the hands, press the knuckles back, lift the heart. Now, if this doesn't feel accessible in your body, just ground the fingertips down behind you and find a little lift of the heart. You're welcome to stay just as you are or bow forward to your depth. If you have the clasped hands, bring them towards the sky. Maybe even bring the palms to touch. And then rise up. Release. Send the legs long in front of you. Give the legs a little shake, just bouncing out some energy, and then plant the feet, hips width apart. Revolved table pose. Hands, fingers can point forward or thumbs forward, fingers out if the shoulders feel tight. Press into the feet, lift the hips, lift the heart, lengthen the tailbone forward. Breathe here, open across the chest. Now you can stay just as you are, or you can take one of the Tibetan rites of rejuvenation. Inhale here as you exhale, slide the sit bones back, press into the hands, and let's do a couple more. Inhale up, exhale, send it back. Once more, inhale up, exhale back, and release. Cross over the ankles, table pose. Just a couple rounds of cat-cow. Rinse out the spine. And back to table, tuck the toes, hips up and back, down dog. Spread the hands, press the hands down and forward. Rotate the biceps towards the ears, sink the heels down. Rise onto the tippy toes and then sink the heels down a little deeper. And once more, just like that. Walk the feet wider, like outer hips width or even as wide as your sticky mat. Press into the right hand, take your left hand to the opposite ankle, shin, or calf. Down dog twist. Start to gaze under the right armpit as you find even weight in both feet. And switch. Other side, right hand to left ankle, shin, calf, whatever you can grab. And start to spiral the gaze under the left armpit. And come back to center. Toe heel your feet in. Inhale, shift forward into plank pose. Pause here. Now you can always lower the knees to the earth as needed. Spread the hands, and then maybe find a little protraction push-up. So puff up the space behind the heart for 3, 2, 1. And then lower knees, chest, chin to the earth. Slide onto the belly. Let's take it into Sphinx pose. So reach the arms forward a little bit so the shoulders are stacked over the elbows. Spread the hands. You might even lengthen each leg back. Press the tops of the feet down, the pelvic bone into the earth. Draw the heart through the window of the arms open here. Couple breaths, option to look side to side for some neck release. And release. Press it back into your child's pose. Pause here. Big breath here. Bend at the elbows, take prayer behind the head, or rest the hands with the nape of the neck. Walk the elbows forward for a little tricep stretch. Melt your heart towards the earth. And breathe here. Release the hands, spread them. Make your way to down dog. Shift your gaze to the top of the mat and walk your feet up to the top, Uttanasana, forward fold. Once you arrive, find a half lift. Get nice and long in the spine. Belly draws in. Crown of head reaches forward. Exhale, fold. And then slowly roll yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Pull the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Turn the palms forward. Take your feet hips width apart, or maybe big toes come to touch, your choice. Reach the arms up to the sky, grab onto opposite elbows. Soften the low ribs in, press through the inseam of the feet, get nice and long, crescent up and over to the right, side stretch. Come back to center, hips square forward, up and over, opposite side. Inhale back to center, and then cactus the arms, open across the heart, pinch the shoulder blade tips together. Reach back to the sky, all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Interlace the hands, press the palms up, grow tall. Exhale, sit into your chair, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Still getting a little wrist stretch, side body nice and long. One more inhale. Exhale, release, fold forward. Half lift, long spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step your left foot back, pause here in a runner's lunge. Start to squeeze the inner thighs together, feet are about hips width apart, all 10 toes face forward, rise up. Settle into your crescent. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward, and soften the low ribs in. You can stay here or bend at the elbows, taking that tricep stretch again. Lift the elbows to the sky, elongate the armpits, maybe even lean back. One more breath. On your next exhale, take the arms to the earth. Left hand stays grounded, right arm windmills up for a revolved lunge. Breathe here, hips square to the mat. So outer right hip, sit bone, outer right hip might spiral down as you twist from the navel, the ribs, the heart. One more breath. Exhale, release, both hands down, send your right leg long and back, three-legged dog. Option to open up the hip if you want. You can play around with dropping left forearm into the earth if you'd like. Couple breaths. And reach the right leg long and back. If your left forearm is on the earth, lift it up. So you're in your three-legged dog. Inhale here. Exhale, step the foot between the hands, spiral back, heel down, warrior two. Straighten your front leg, take it into reverse triangle. Nice long line of energy in the right side body. Keep that. Tilt forward, get long. Trikonasana triangle. We'll hold this a little longer. Hand can come to a brick. Peace fingers to big toes. It can float in front of the shins. Whatever calls you here. Keep a micro bend in both knees, but tone the thighs up. Rotate the whole heart to the sky. Take one more breath. Slowly reverse warrior, up and back. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Shift towards your gaze towards the top of the mat and step your back foot forward to meet it. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, rise all the way up, palms come to meet. Hands to heart center, samastitihi. Side bends again, different variation, big toes come to touch. Reach the arms to the sky, find Kali Mudra. Point your fingers, extend, thumbs cross, other fingers interlace. Get nice and long here, then crescent up and over to the right. Hips square forward, armpits square forward, stay or take your right leg out to the side, kneecap faces forward. You want a little balance challenge, lift the leg up. For 3, 2, back to center. Inhale, grow tall, take it up and over, other side. Stay here, roll the top shoulder back, or take your left leg out to the side, little balance challenge, or float the leg. Breathe here, get nice and long in the right side, but also activate the left side. And back to center. Release the hands. Sink the hips low, graze the fingertips on the earth, reach up, find your Utkatasana. Exhale, fold, half lift, long spine. Into our other side, plant the hands, step right foot back, pause in your runner's lunge so you can get set up, strong base here. Squeeze the inner thighs, front shin bone is straight up and down, rise to your high lunge. Biceps frame the face, or option to take that prayer behind head, again, little tricep stretch. Squeeze the inner thighs together, really think of that active engagement there as you lengthen the tailbone back, soften the low ribs, maybe find a little heart opening, lean back, inhale. Exhale, release the hands down. Right hand stays grounded, left arm sweeps up. Find your revolved lunge. Notice if the front knee starts to splay out. Can you hug the knee in so it's right over the ankle? Squeeze the inner thighs together. Roll the heart open to the sky. One more breath. And release. Send your left leg long and back, three-legged dog. Open up the hip. Stack left hip on top of right. Option to drop your right forearm to the earth here as you press your heart towards the back of the mat. Couple breaths. Notice if your right side body is crunching or getting small, can you pull your outer right hip towards the back of the mat so the right side body is long even as you lift your left leg up. Three-legged dog, left leg extends, right arm comes off the earth if it was there. Exhale, step it through. Warrior 2. Rise up, Virabhadrasana 2. So hips and shoulders are open to the long edge. And find this big wingspan across the heart. And even the pelvis is level. So if the back hip is popping up here, can you draw your left hip crease to the sky? Flip the front palm up, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. So long side body here. Press through the ball mount of the front big toe. Keep that length as you tilt forward. Maybe shorten your stance. Triangle. Release the left hand down, right arm up. So notice here if you're starting to bow inward. If you are, come on up a little bit, press your hips forward, or scoop your left hip down and underneath you as you lean your right shoulder back. Couple of breaths. Tone the thighs up, softness behind the knees, breathe. Anything you need here, one more breath. Reverse warrior, bend into the front leg, reach up and back. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Gaze at the top of the mat and then step forward to the top. Find a nice long half lift. Exhale, bow inward. One more half lift here. Plant the hands, step back, and you can rinse through Vinyasa or skip it. We'll meet in Virasana for a moment. So we've been opening up our hamstrings a bit, opening up our shoulders a bit, our heart. We're working towards dolphin. Now, if you already know it, feel free to get into it. Otherwise, you'll plant your arms on the earth, about the length of shoulders. You would grab onto your elbows and swivel your arms forward. Arms are parallel here. You need a little more activation. You can play with just doing these little protraction shoulder shrugs here. Just notice how that feels. Otherwise, tuck the toes, send the hips up to the sky. And this might be where you stay in your dolphin. Press into the forearms, wrap the upper arms away from each other, press your heart towards the back of the mat. Maybe you stay there, or you walk your feet in, but still press your heart towards the back. Couple breaths. So we've got an inversion, a heart opener, also opening the back line of our legs. Stay if you want, or send your left leg high to the sky, draw it up from the inseam. And switch. And release. Walk it out into a forearm plank. We'll only be here for a couple breaths. Widen across the collarbones, belly in, tailbone back. One more big inhale. Exhale, release to the earth. One last heart opener of practice. So if you want to take Sphinx again, like we did in the beginning, feel free to plant the tops of the feet down, belly in, heart forward. Or if you'd like to work into floor bow, you can bend the knees and grab onto the ankles, the feet, whatever you can grab onto. Notice if the knees try to come wide. If they do, imagine you're squeezing a brick between the thighs or bring them in. And then when you're ready, kick the feet back, lift the heart. Breathe here for 3. Heart lifting for 2. Rounded heart opener for 1. And release. You can release your hands to stack on your forehead, or your forehead to stack on your hands, or one cheek to the earth. Give the hips a little shimmy. Press into the hands. Child's pose. Drape yourself up, make your way all the way onto your backs. When you arrive on your back, send your right leg to the sky, and then cross right ankle over left knee for Sukhi Rendrasana figure 4. So you can keep the left sole of the foot on the earth or interlace the hands behind the left thigh. Hug the leg in as you press your right knee forward. Couple breaths. Soften the back body to the earth. Now if you want a little more, then you can kind of imagine your arms are like a pitchfork hugging your leg in, or you can even cradle your right leg and send your left leg long. But just tune into your body. Each person's practice is different, so find what serves you. One more breath. Slowly release both soles of the feet to the earth, pause, neutrality. And then switch, left ankle over right knee, Sukhi Rendrasana, other side. Interlace the hands behind the right thigh if possible, and then press your left knee towards the front of the room. Lengthen the tailbone down, melt the back body to the earth. Take a few big breaths here. Notice if there's tension in the jaw and the tongue. Can you soften there? Stay, or if you want a deeper hip opener, cradle the leg. Back body still rests. Reclined pigeon. One more breath. Slowly come on out of this or reverse out. Take your feet as wide as the mat, arms in a diamond shape above the head. You can just windshield wiper the knees side to side. Come back to center, toe heel the feet in, arms out to cactus or a T. Hug the knees in really high up towards the armpits. And then drop the knees all the way over towards the left. Almost like you're keeping them up high. Inhale back to center. Really hug the knees in and then drop them all the way over towards the right. Keep them up high. Come back to center. And if there's anything else you need here, last yogi's choice, please give yourself that. I'll be leaving you in Shavasana, your pose of integration and rest, corpse pose. So feel free to guide yourself out when you are ready. Otherwise, final moments before we enter, give everything a big squeeze, and then let everything go into Shavasana. Final rest.